I'm so tired of bullshit politicians making up bullshit laws. This EU bullshit started in 2013, actually from a liberal Swedish woman. Don't remember her name. I have a headache from stressing about this EU bullshit too much. Anyway, they didn't get any traction in 2013. Actually, at that time they had a poll where they asked the hunters and sport shooters of Europe what they thought about this kind of legislation, basically banning everything. And yeah, everyone thought it was bullshit, of course. So they, when they got about 100% negative response, they made another poll with leading questions, and they just asked specific people, so they got the answers they wanted. Still, it didn't happen in 2013, and now, after the Paris attacks, they're trying to rush through legislation banning semi-auto firearms and confiscating them, 5-year licenses for everything, banning all distance sales of firearms, no sales over telephone, internet, through regular snail mail, I don't know, and also accessories. You can't buy you wouldn't be able to buy a scope, a rifle scope over the internet if this law passes. You wouldn't be able to buy a bipod, you wouldn't be able to buy anything, no, not even oil to lube your gun. It's bizarre. Not even a sling. And yeah, it's so stupid. Like terrorists or criminals ever used illegal guns. It's a hassle to get a firearms license in the EU as it is. And now they're basically going to ban everything. Oh. And the socialists in the EU is behind all this. The socialists in Sweden, the Social Democrats, and the left and the environmentalist party, they're all part of the same group in the European Parliament. What's it called? Socialists and Democrats group or something. And the socialists in Sweden just went out speaking like these suggestions would do anything. And it's really good to be tough on guns. Yeah, be tough on guns, be tough on illegal guns. Close the borders. Do something. This won't do a shit. This actually helps terrorists, this helps ISIS, this helps Daesh. Because it removes focus from solutions that might actually do something against this issue we have in violent Islamists. And also right-wing extremists and left-wing extremists, at least in Sweden, especially right-wing. Anyway, this won't do anything. This will only hurt law-abiding citizens, it will hurt all the hunting industries and everything like that. That's like billions of Swedish kronor a year. I think it's 3 billion. That's going to take a nosedive. All the gun stores basically are going to go under. There's going to be a few left. An entire culture of hunting in Sweden is going to die. And not speaking of the sport shooting, that's not going to happen. Are they going to really confiscate just in Sweden 100,000 firearms without compensation? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot of boating accidents, as they say in the US. I have a lot of money invested in my firearms, and they're gonna steal them from me because they're basically socialists. That sucks. So anyway, if you live in Europe, write your politicians. Write them now, write them often, and don't stop writing them. Hell, phone them, write snail letters, do anything. I'm doing it. I wrote every European, all my representatives in the EU, and actually the socialists I talked to thought this was bullshit, but this is orders from up high, so I don't think the socialists I got in contact with have anything to say, because everyone I've talked to realizes that this is bullshit. There's some parties that outright will not touch this at all. I'm going to vote against it. The Sweden Democrats, for example. Um, and the opposition in Sweden, like the moderate party, have made some good noises. There's a guy called Sten Bergheden in Sweden. He's a moderate right politician in Sweden. He asked the Minister of Interior in Sweden, is this actually what you guys want? As an official government question, he has to answer in writing. And the answer he got was basically, well, it's not going to impact the hunters and sport shooters that much. Well, yes it is. You don't know what you're speaking, you don't know what you're talking about. These fucking idiots. And other countries like Finland, they complain, and Czechoslovakia, they're complaining. I think Poland is going to come around too as well. Basically all the eastern states are dependent on voluntary shooters to keep their marksmanship training up for reservist companies, like militias, basically government sponsored. That's not going to be possible if they can't own their own rifles. I do know that Finland takes the defense of their country very seriously. They're never gonna implement these laws. This is the weapons directive. So if the European Parliament votes this through, then all the nations in the EU has to make local laws that align with this directive. So that's never going to happen. I know that the directive now has some firearms that's not even, you don't need a license for them, and I do know that Sweden needs license for all kind of firearms. So we have tighter laws in Sweden than the directive is at the moment. So you don't have to follow the directive 100% apparently. So I don't know what they will do, but I do know that politicians in Sweden are fucking stupid and will suck EU cock if they can. Because, yeah, why think for yourself? Well, write your politicians. Also there's a petition I will link in the description. Sign that petition if you haven't already. When I type this, it's up to about 90,000 supporters, and that's only the last 40 hours or something. So that's a good turnout for sport shooters in the EU, even though it's like not many people compared to the total population. It's still a good turnout, I think, because we're not very organized in the EU, the shooters. We should be better. I think this is a wake-up call for all the shooters in Europe to organize better. There's several organizations that tries to organize us. Please join them. I'll try to link some in the description as well if you're a shooter in Europe. And make sure you join your local shooting organizations. In Sweden that's Vapenägarnas förbund. Join them, support them, and if you want to have shooting sports or hunting or collecting or whatever, you have to basically become politically engaged. It's a must. Same as in the US. If you're in the US and you're not part of the Second Amendment Foundation or the NRA or whatever, you're doing yourself a disservice. You guys in the US at least have the Second Amendment. Here in Europe we're basically fucked. If the politicians choose to stick it up our ass, you just have to take it. Well, the democracy is politicians are representing the people, and we are the people. So we're gonna have to make sure they really represent us. And if you didn't know it, democracy works this way. You're gonna create opinion, and you're gonna control it. And who controls the opinion of the people? Well, it doesn't really matter what people think. It matters who screams the loudest. And you gotta make sure you scream the loudest and never give politicians a break. Just scream loud and all the time, and you will get right. You're gonna get your rights. It doesn't matter if you're correct, basically. That's part of the issue with democracy as I see it. Pity there's nothing better. Anyway, so make sure to scream loud and hard and contact all politicians you can think of. just Google politicians or something and mail all of them. I don't know. We have to make our voices heard anyway, because this is bullshit. It really is. Okay. Now I'm gonna go polish my guns or something.